your weekly podcast reviewing games for the Game Pass collection, bringing you three unique perspectives from varying skill range. I am the mad scientist who will most likely kill the family dog, Andrew. With me, the one who just wants to get back into your head, Keith.
Hello.
And the one who's not unfaithful but they'll stray, Aaron.
What did we just say about spoilers? You haven't even made it through the title.
Oh, come on. Okay,
It's spoiled.
Good.
All right,
What
this
is
game-
to spoil?
Listen. I'm gonna. This is one of those, like, I'm not even trying to mean. The game is 2.5 hours tops. Go play it. It's also 7 years old. If you're worried about a spoiler, go play it and then listen to this.
What are you doing, Aaron?
I accidentally unplugged my speakers, and then I realized it was going to probably make a loud noise, and then putting it back in made a louder noise. So
I'm also surprised you didn't catch my intro, Aaron. I thought for sure you'd say something about
but what?
that. You didn't get it. Okay.
No, I think I was so blown away the fact that you spoiled it on your name, like a section
cut
of this
right to
already.
it.
Yeah, Andrew wants to talk spoilers so bad. So if you are coming into this episode not knowing if you should play, then here's what we'll say.
How does that spoil anything? That doesn't spoil anything, Aaron.
Okay. I'm sure everyone who hasn't played this is like, why would he say mad scientist who kills the dog? I wonder if that's somehow relevant to the game.
But what does that spoil? Is that going to be
Oh
like,
my God.
what?
A plot point.
That completely changed the
All
story.
right,
What?
so here's the deal. Yes, it's a 2-hour long game, as Keith said. If you have not played this game and you want to know if you should play it, just go try it. Andrew's going to go blab all over this game. This game does have a lot of elements that are hard to talk about without spoiling, and Andrew's already spoiled a plot point within 10 seconds.
So anyway, this week we played Transference. Since this is October, I was like, you know what? We should play a spooky game. And I was like, you know what? Maybe we play the Dead Space remake, but we're ready to play Dead Space. And it's like, well, is it really that much different? And then Keith found this and I went, what? Ubisoft made kind of a psychological horror game? And apparently they did. This game is Transference by Ubisoft Montreal and Spectravision, which I never heard of that studio. But anyway, this game came out in 2018. It is a first-person horror psychological walking simulator where you are a family member trying to piece together some broken, fragmented memories. There.
Did
See,
you
not
realize,
spoiling.
Andrew, that this is actually built originally for VR?
Yeah.
Which
makes
makes
sense.
a whole lot more sense, and I think it would add a way better level to this game.
Absolutely.
But-
especially with the audio.
Yeah.
I was going to get to that point later about if this game would have worked way better in VR, because I knew it was a VR game originally that they kind of transferred into being able to play with a controller or mouse and keyboard. But yeah, I'm sure we'll cover a bit of that.
Yeah, we'll get there, I guess.
Also, another little caveat. This is a Ubisoft Plus game. So obviously with the whole restructuring of Game Pass, unless you are a Game Pass Ultimate, you don't have access to Ubisoft Plus. We're still trying to figure out as kind of what we're going to be able to cover and what not. But
This
obviously,
one did say it was available at all tiers when I looked at it in the app.
Yeah.
It is an Ubisoft Plus, but I think there might either it's a weird like hiccup that they haven't worked out yet, or it's like there'll be some crossover games that will be available in all tiers, but are not, but are ultimately Ubisoft Plus or whatever.
well, I figured this was the first month, so before people completely canceled their Game Pass subscriptions, you'll probably have access to this game. But anyway, like as Aaron said, there's a lot of spoilers. Oh, I'm not going to spoil anything. Aaron, I just said one little thing, and that really isn't a big spoiler. It really explains nothing, even though Aaron disagrees. But if you want to be safe, I guess pause the episode after our Gamer Pass. But we will try to avoid spoilers. But anyway, I'll kick this off for Transference, whether this is a game or pass. I'll give this a game. At first, I was kind of bored with this. This, like I said, it's a walking simulator with literally zero run, which was really irritating me. You have a crouch, but you don't have a run button. Like, come on. But I actually really like this game's story. On spookiness, it was creepy. So if you're someone who doesn't want to be like completely freaked out by things, this is a good entry for a spooky game. So I'm gonna give this a game.
Yeah, I think overall I'm gonna say game. I will. So I actually I beat it. I didn't It didn't let me pause the ending, and I got cut off on something that I just wanted to go back and watch. So I like went back, looked it up. I actually ended up watching. It's like 15 minutes. There, I found a YouTube video that has all of the video logs in the game, and then after watching more, I don't want to say I'm annoyed with the story. I'm almost a little bit annoyed with the vagueness because there's not a lot of vagueness, but there is. But either way, I do ultimately like it, and it's like 2 hours long. It's pretty good time. I don't mind a walking simulator, but man, I'm with you. I just the slowest walk. Like just give me a slight, like a blueprint style sprint, like just a slight jog almost would be nice at points. But outside of that, it's perfectly fine. And it's a fun game.
Yeah, I guess it's gonna make three of us again. We are on a bit of a hot streak here, but yeah, I do think this is a game. When we get into gameplay, I do want to talk about that walking part though that you guys are bringing up because I do kind of have some thoughts on that as well. Yeah, this was kind of a surprisingly interesting game. Much like with most walking simulators, I don't really want to call this a walking simulator. I guess it is. There's puzzles. So there are puzzles. You're not really just kind of walking for the sake of walking just for a story. But I do think when you have a game like this, story is everything. Like that has to be pretty decent. We'll talk more about the story when we get to that section. But I've got a lot of thoughts on that. But yeah, it's kind of weird. It's weird to say, yeah, it's like a 2-hour game and it's actually good. It's actually worth trying. I mean, how often can you actually say something like that? I do think I would have rather have tried this in VR.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now, knowing that it was originally made as a VR game, that probably would have been the route to go check it out on. So I guess if you do have an opportunity, I would go that route if I were you. But if you just have Game Pass, obviously you can play it there, and it's still a decent experience. But yeah, this is a game.
So as I said, if you don't want any spoilers, I mean, we're not going to try to spoil things, but I think it's difficult. But yeah, if you want to pause, come back later. But anyway, getting into the gameplay. As I said, this is a first-person kind of walking simulator. You just get this. The game starts off with a live action, which I thought was nice. The cinematics are all live actors of this very vague introduction of kind of what you understand what's going on. And, you know, you are just a character that you don't know who you are, trying to piece together this fragmented memory. Something spooky's kind of chasing you. And you're trying to solve random puzzles as you try to figure out what's going on. Is that vague enough, Aaron?
Yeah, but I think you can still touch on story elements without kind of getting into the details here. So
apparently a dog is a massive spoiler, so I don't know. Can I?
You specifically said kill the dog. There is a portion in this game where you're not really sure what happened to the dog, and now they'll know what happened to the dog.
Okay. Well,
hopefully they've already paused it if they didn't want to hear a spoiler. Because now Aaron just
I
explicitly said it. Andrew just alluded.
If Andrew says at the beginning, I'm the mad scientist who kills his dog. What do you? Is somebody just supposed to be like, yes, that's the thing mad scientists do. That would make sense.
Well, that actually was going to be a point I was going to bring up. Why is anytime there's ever a scientist, they kill the family dog? Would it be easier just to go to the pet store and just
name
buy
an
a
instance,
dog?
Andrew? Name another instance in media where the mad scientist kills the dog.
Like all of them. Like, okay. Like the closest one, Full Metal Alchemist. How about that?
Oh my goodness. Used anime?
It's media.
All right.
Is that not media?
Anyway.
Is that not media?
So the story's opening cinematic.
Back to the Future. Einstein, his dog, he experiments on that dog. Doesn't kill it, but he does experiments on the dog.
The opening cinematic, it's very brief. It's very weird and very abrupt. I do like that it's live action. I do like that there's a lot of live action in here.
Yeah.
I don't know why that still feels cool to me when games do that. It reminds me of the days of like Sega CD when that was like groundbreaking. So now, like when I see it now, I still get that feeling of like, ooh, live actors in a video game. This is crazy.
There's something about it that, because of like you're saying with the Sega CD thing, it gives it a bit of a campy feel to it, which in this type of setting fits pretty well.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think in a game this short, it actually makes the characters much more relatable because you are watching, listening real humans, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not, you're not trying to like read a couple things and some really poorly animated characters interacting with each other and something you're like, okay, this makes it feel so much more real more quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just think that's just a nice little touch. So you're essentially unraveling this story, but this story comes together in bits and pieces. But again, we're in a 2-hour runtime. So pretty rapidly, it's laying out this story. Now, I will say, by the time you get to the end, Keith kind of alluded to this. I have the same type of argument when it comes to movies. Like, I'm okay with vagueness if it feels like it was properly placed there. Not vagueness, but just like open to interpretation. I'm okay with it when it's done properly. This game is very much an open to interpretation. I think you could.
That explains 90% of it.
I
got
think
what happened.
I think you can interpret this actually in a few different ways, but I think that this actually does a really good job of that. I don't think it necessarily you get an idea of what happened to everybody.
Yeah, you know that's pretty.
But what's
evident.
the monster?
I
would like to say, but we aren't doing spoilers.
So,
I was
but
say,
again,
I've read two different theories that actually have pretty good arguments to what both of them could, or what it could be.
Yes, but that's where I'm saying, like, I'm okay with that kind of open to interpretation. Is this game an allegory of something, or is it far more direct? I would lead to believe I think it's more of an allegory. And this again, you get a little bit into spoilers. I recommend people just play it and kind of figure it out for themselves. But I think it's an allegory.
Do we want to talk after? Do we want to talk spoilers?
No. You don't need to do that.
Well,
but
see, I am curious when you say it's an allegory because I actually that doesn't. I don't want to say it doesn't make sense, but I don't necessarily see that. But
what? Well, wait,
keep your secrets. Keep your secrets. It's fine.
But I again, that's one of these things that I like about this game, is the fact that I understand like the basic tenets of this game are explained. You do know what happens to each of these characters. You do understand that, but there is still elements there of, well, wait, what did this represent? Like, what did the crystals represent? What is represented each time you're changing viewpoints? Like what's being represented there? So
see, I feel like I actually got that viewpoints thing pretty clearly.
Yes. I think that you
obvious.
you could probably land at a certain spot on that for sure. I like that about this game though. I think that is a cool element to this story. I don't think it plays out as you're seeing it. Like, I don't think the story is just that. I think there's more to it. There's another layer or two.
So you just said something that I know it's, I don't know. I'm going to be out of order on this, but I feel like it's very fitting because it's all woven so well into it. And it's kind of what I like about this game is the map is so interesting. And like so much of the gameplay hinges on the house and how the rooms interact and play with each other. And as you're going through, doors are like disappearing and changing, and like the very opening scene, I guess you could, like I was thinking about it, I guess it could just be like a triangle, but that whole loop like throws me off because you walk to the side of the building, you turn left, and you walk down and you turn left, and you're back at the start, but like on the opposite side. Like it's like a 3-sided building, which I guess is a triangle, but it built like a square as you walk around. It was like just messing with my head, and I walked around it like 4 times because I was just trying to figure out and wrap my head around it. But I like that the game does that throughout the entire experience.
It's like an MC Escher painting.
Yeah.
I like this game takes place in Boston City. which always makes me laugh. Like there's like you hear of New York City, but no one ever calls like Chicago City. But Liz made a good point. You know, people will call it City of Boston, but I just think it's funny that it's Boston City, and it's like, oh, okay.
Well, it was made by people in Montreal, so maybe they just don't know the difference. So
That or maybe like Commonwealth of Massachusetts is
yeah.
so trademarked or something.
I don't know if there's anything else you want to touch on the story, Andrew. Is there anything else you want to touch on with the story?
I mean, not without spoiling things. I actually thought this game was much more straightforward. I see there are some different interpretations you can have on some aspects of it, but that's one thing I at least appreciate this game. To me, I felt like it gave me enough that I understood what happened, what was going on. And like, to me, like that's a good, satisfying ending.
I was nervous that it wasn't going to.
I kind of was too, but like also too, you know, there are different perspectives. And like, that's the thing about this story that I thought was very cool is because it took me a while to figure out what was going on. And then when you're seeing like, but then the game's talking about perspectives and the game's changing and how the perspectives were, like the family photo. I'm like, it's really cool. So like, I really enjoyed this game's story for as short as it was. Because that's the other thing that made me nervous too. And I saw this game was like 2 hours long. I'm like, like, is this just going to be a super vague game and just, oh, here's the credits? But no, it actually stuck with me pretty well.
Yeah, because there's like, it's throwing a lot at you very quickly. Like a lot of just bizarre things. Like almost instantly you get a jump scare with somebody as soon as you're like in the hallway, as soon as you get into the building. And then you're hearing whispers, like constantly whispers or
doors
voicemails.
are moving.
Yeah. And it's
banging.
It's constantly funneling things into your like what you're seeing and what you're hearing. So that's where I was like, oh my gosh, like this is just an overload of just stuff happening. Is any of this even going to make sense? Or is it just being spooky for the sake of being spooky?
Yeah.
And then eventually
full of jump scares, but it wasn't.
Yeah. And there were plenty of them. Like
yeah.
I actually thought this game was not just creepy. It's definitely got a creepy factor, but it actually had some decent jump scares. Things I honestly didn't expect to see in it, where I was like, oh, all right. Didn't expect that. I'm sure if I was playing that on a VR, that would be awesome. Yeah. Like that would really get me.
They weren't cheap jump scares. It's not like I'm opening a drawer and a random
thing going, boo. Like, I talk about this all the time. Like they nail it in a way that you know they're going to be around some corner somewhere, but they find a way to actually put them in places that you're not. And my favorite thing about them is they're mostly subtle. Like and I think this is what you were saying is like, it's not things jumping out at you. It's things that are in the corner of your eye and you have to look a second time and then it hits you. And then it's really creepy. Or even there's at least one, and I actually took a screenshot of it, that like a door opens after you open the lock, and it does it with the most perfect perspective where you can just see like the half of a clown poster, and it's just this super creepy eye. Yeah. And it's like, dang, it's like that's like, it's just well placed things like that are just I've really liked about it.
This isn't necessarily story related, but this is a question that kind of popped up into my head when I was playing this. And especially Andrew, who anytime we talk about a spooky game, he's always like, it's not scary. It's not scary. So like, I don't know Andrew's scale of scare, but what
if it has children, it scares me. So this game had children.
Yes, it did.
And it creeped me out a little bit.
Just in general, if it has a child.
I don't know why. Children in horror movies do it for me.
Children in horror movies,
creep me out. Yeah.
But
not children in general.
When you're playing a game, is it scarier if the monster, the thing that's chasing you or whatever, can kill you? Is that scarier?
Yes.
I was trying to figure that out too. Like, did it make a difference? Because again, not really trying to spoil anything here, but you can't be killed by the monster.
There's at least one part I can think of that you can go the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it attacks you and sends you back to another, like an earlier part. But I think that's the only part I can think of.
And it's not killing you. I wouldn't say it's killing you.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying like that's the closest it comes. But I think it can be plenty scary. I don't know if it necessarily makes a difference for me.
Because and this is just my barometer. I have not played as many horror games as you guys have, but Still Wakes the Deep. I really like that. You guys didn't like that. But one of the reasons why that game felt so creepy to me is not just visually how things were, but it was that feeling of this thing is nipping at my heels. And that adds another layer of kind of tension into it. But I was playing this and I was like, I don't know. I still kind of feel that weird eeriness, even though I know it's not going to attack me. That's not what this game is. So I was kind of curious. I was like, I wonder if that makes that much of a difference. Can you still have a scary game, even if it can't kill you?
Yeah. See, and I say yes, because when we get into it, it's because of the audio. There's always just something in your ear.
Yeah.
So even though we're not, so I highly recommend, if you play this game, absolutely play with headphones.
100%.
Yeah. Well, and it's really weird because for most of the game, I didn't necessarily know that there was a central, like, bad monster, so to speak. Like, I had seen it, I had encountered it. I just didn't really know that, like, oh, that's the bad thing that's causing the bad, I guess.
It didn't show up a lot.
No, and mostly because, like, all of the other scary stuff was not that thing. And like I said, they were, you know what a lot of the scares reminded me of was the Sixth Sense type of scares.
Yeah.
Like the mother in the kitchen with a knife, and like things like that type of scare. Like it's a little bit like mental. It's creepy. It's got all that, but it's also, it's like a little bit psychological too. And and that was what I kind of appreciated about it. And that's why I thought, like, you haven't asked it yet, Aaron, but I'll answer it. You know, where does this land on the spooky scale? And I actually was going to land this at like a solid 6.5.
Shoot. Andrew, what about you? Where's it land on spooky scale?
I give it a 5.
Shoot. I don't know if I've asked you this in the past when we've had this argument. What's a 10?
It's hard to say.
What's the scariest game you've played? All right.
I remember when you asked me this, and it's like, I'm curious if I am jaded. The most recent scary game I can think of is Outlast. I played that when me and Liz were dating, and Liz watched me play most of it, and it was generally very creepy, because you didn't have a flashlight, you had a camcorder that just had night vision on it, and there is something almost always chasing you, and you're in an insane asylum. Very creepy. The things, like, usually in a game that scares me are things that are going to kill me, and I can't do anything to fight them. Thinking back for my past childhood of things that really freaked me out, Resident Evil 2. I remember we rented that for Nintendo 64, and I remember I had to keep stopping it because I was too freaked out. I could only play in like 30-minute bursts, and then I was like, I gotta stop. I can't do this. And then Sylvester and Tweety, I think it's called like Adventure or something like that. That game creeped me out because there's a level where you play as Sylvester the cat, and Tweety becomes like a giant Frankenstein bird, and you can't kill him, and he's constantly chasing you. And I remember as a kid, it terrified me.
Okay. It's a very specific thought. I don't remember this at all.
It was on Sega Genesis. I remember.
Okay. All right. Pretty lame. So I like how Andrew's like gave this a 5, and then he's like, but Sylvester and Tweety 10.
I was like 6 at the time when I was playing that game.
No,
I was like,
no, it's too late. That's your number 10. Your number 10 is Sylvester and Tweety. You heard it here. All that to say,
I'm gonna look up the exact game name while you talk.
I think the story is really good. Like it's really decent. It's all voice acted, and a lot of it is anytime you're seeing a character, you're basically seeing them in live action. So yeah, kind of cool.
Yep. Sylvester and Tweety and KG Capers.
Wow, sounds frightening.
It was rated general audience, so it's for everyone. And as a kid, it scared me. Hey, you have no room to judge, Aaron.
Why?
You and your Lion King.
That's all right. I was never scared of Lion King. Okay.
He just got emotional.
It was emotional. And most people feel that when they hear Elton John singing, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Most people feel that, Andrew. All right. Are we ready to jump into gameplay? Because I got some thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I think we've got.
I mean, well, real quick, here's a screenshot of it right here.
That's it.
Tweety Bird turns into this. It's called Hide and Shriek was the levels.
Oh my!
I like
gosh.
difficulty here. 41%. See, the next one was 61%, and then 81%.
Wow, super cool, Andrew.
Wow.
But yeah, going on. What do you clearly have thoughts to say, Aaron. So go right ahead.
About the gameplay.
Gameplay. Go ahead.
All right. So the pace of movement. I think. Well, there's a few things to think. The pace of movement, I think, as a VR game, makes a lot of sense. I think that pace of movement probably would make sense with a headset. Doesn't quite make sense with a controller. You walk at one pace, and that's it. The other thought on that is I noticed it immediately, and I think because you start outside of the apartment, out in the street, so you've kind of got this long sidewalk, that feels slow as molasses.
Yes.
And I think it's because it starts you in an open space. When you're in the apartment, going through the halls, I didn't notice the speed at all. I felt like it was completely comfortable. It was noticeable how slow you are when you're outside. So I was like, all right, in corridors, this doesn't actually feel all that bad. And again, maybe it's also just because you're interacting with a lot of things and there's a lot of things kind of attacking your senses. But that initial out on the sidewalk thing, yes, it immediately is like, oh, this is slow as I'll get out right now. But I didn't think it was that bad. I know that that's like a claim people talk about, but I didn't think it was that bad for majority of the game because you're indoors. It doesn't feel bad. I don't know. Am I wrong on that one?
No, I think you're right. There was a few times where, like, I think it was one of the later puzzles that I had to go back and forth a few different times within the house that I was like, I wish I could kind of just move a little quicker here. But truthfully, outside of that, I think you're right that once you're in the house, it doesn't feel as bad. It's in part of that, like it starts outdoors, but it's really throughout the whole game is you kind of probably phrase it right is like the game's just throwing a lot in your face all the time. But there's just a lot of noise of you can interact with everything just about, it seems, and 90% of it is meaningless. It's just
that stuff kind of drives
trash
me
on it.
crazy.
Yes,
It
I was going to
doesn't-
bring
it
this point up too.
I don't want to say like I don't know. I don't think I like it enough to defend it. So
In a game with
Go off.
puzzles, it drives me crazy. And again,
Yeah.
it makes sense for a VR game. VR games, you kind of want to be tactile with things. So it kind of makes sense that it's giving you the opportunity to kind of mess with a lot of things. My problem is in a puzzle game, I don't know what's relevant, what's not, like what is and what isn't. And it was totally fine. The puzzles were easy enough to go along with it. You were fine. But at least initially, it was driving me crazy because everything I'm like, ooh, I need this. Ooh, I need this. Ooh. And then I was like, I don't think I need all this. I'm pretty sure some of this stuff is just junk.
Yeah, like I fully agree. I mean, this is like very typical walking simulator kind of thing where there is just a lot of knick-knacky things you can pick up and turn around to look at, but they don't do anything. Like some of it, like case in point, right in the street, there's a music store and you're picking up like 3 or 4 different flyers about this music store. Heck, I picked up a Chinese restaurant menu.
Yeah.
Like what was the point of that? Nothing.
yeah,
So
there's
some
no
of
reason
it
for
makes some of it makes sense. It's obviously world building, understanding, other characters that aren't in the game, like their perspectives and how they're concerned, and like it's building up a little bit of story and universe. I get that. But you'll literally back a box of matches and it's like, okay, here's the ribbon. And it's like, okay, why was this a thing?
I
And
kind of
clearly is just
started
meant
to figure out
filler.
if it was something you saw more than once, you didn't have to pick it up again.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yes and no, because it built, like, case in point, the family photo. Like,
but
that's the thing I
but
really
that's a different
liked.
thing because the family
Yeah.
photo changed. Like that's a unique item. But I'm talking about a flyer or a business card. Like every time I saw that, I knew I didn't need to pick it up again because I'd already seen
Yeah.
it 5 times. There's no reason it was going to suddenly become meaningful in the game. And if it did, that would have been a really, really bad angle for it to take.
Yeah. It felt like there was a lot of just trash hanging around.
Yeah, there definitely is. Especially with like a toy. And it's like, okay. I do like, did you guys catch the like random Rick and Morty reference?
Yep, I took a screenshot of that. I thought that was pretty funny.
No.
There's one point you open up a cabinet. Well, it's built in there too, but there's a robot and it's the one he builds that its purpose is to serve butter.
Yeah, it's called the NECA Pass Butter.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't really watch a whole lot of Rick and Morty. Unless it's like Pickle Rick, I'm pretty much not going to recognize it.
Oh, I mean, a lot of people meme it because it's
I was gonna
what's
say,
my
that
one
was a-
purpose.
Yeah.
And then somebody obviously put in something different, but yeah, that's it. To pass butter.
Okay.
I thought there was, I think there was at least one other thing I noticed that I was like, oh, I think that's a reference to something else, but that one was pretty obvious.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, the gameplay in this was easy. Like, did you get stumped on any of the puzzles? Because me, like, I don't disagree with you, Aaron, of saying this is a puzzle game, but it's like very shallow puzzles.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was ever stumped. Like, it might have just taken me a minute or two to just be like, all right, wait, what is this? And then
Well,
like, oh, okay.
The very first puzzle I actually did look up.
The music?
Yes. I was like, I don't know what
Really?
scales are. Because I don't know music scales. So I'm like, I
That
don't know what
one-
letters those are.
That one, I mean, it was, I thought that was pretty easy only because I don't either, but I thought it gave me enough of the clues to like kind of piece that together. But the one that actually took me a bit was the laptop puzzle. That was the one I almost thought I was gonna have to look up. And it was I was purely just hung up on the wrong thing.
Same.
I was on the radio and because there's a, I don't know, but yeah, I thought that was where I was going to get my solution, and I kept going back and forth, and then finally I happened to stumble across the piece that made it all click, and it's like, oh, okay.
Andrew, sometimes it's like every week it's turning into you just say something and then like immediately contradict yourself. Then I'm like, what?
What?
You had to look up a solution for the very first puzzle, and then Keith just said this about the laptop, and you said same.
Well, no, because he said
this is
I
a
thought I have to
puzzle
look it
game.
up because I was the same case. I wasn't looking at the radio, but I was like, you need a 4-digit combo, and I ended up switching like through different perspectives like 3 times, and then I was like, wait, I never really looked in this room, and then I was like, oh, it's right there, literally in front of my face.
Kind of sounds like you got stumped by some puzzles.
I wouldn't call it stumped, but I was thinking the same. I was thinking the same as Keith when he was like, I might have to look it up. So that's what I was agreeing with. I didn't have to look it up.
I'm just saying you kind of talked down to it, but I think we all kind of are landing at the same space, because this was my thing. Is it wasn't it? They're puzzles. Are they challenging puzzles? No, nothing that's not going to take you more than just a few minutes to figure it out for the most part. Unless you're Andrew, then you have to apparently go to Google to figure out how scales work in music.
I know how they work. I just didn't know what the lettering was. So
Did you look up for the piano puzzle too? Because you didn't know what the notes were.
No, because the piano puzzle didn't have to really do with notes. It just had to do with a light.
Neither. That's kind of my point. But
he Googled it.
Sick bird, I guess.
He had to Google
no, because
it.
ultimately it really had nothing to do with the music
really
scale.
did.
It was literally the puzzle pieces.
Yes,
right
it
in
did.
front
You
of
had to know where the notes were on the mat
Oh my god!
to know the lettering.
I said the G word, so my phone was just like, "Yes, can I help you?"
No.
It started yelling at me.
Didn't, though. There was literally it popped open, and there was a piece of paper that gave you the solution.
I did not see that piece of paper. I saw the doormat. The doormat said,
Yeah, there's 6 doors. There's 6 mailboxes there, and the top right one is loose, and it pops open, and there's a piece of paper, and it tells you how to read the music scales.
"Oh, I did not read that piece of paper." So there's my issue. That's why I googled it.
Yeah.
So you missed the puzzle. So
Okay.
so what Aaron is saying is that you didn't get the puzzle, but these puzzles are too easy.
My only retort here was just Andrew just talked down to it like it was meaningless, and then immediately had to follow up and said that he had to look up a solution to the very first puzzle. So you can't really talk down about the puzzles if you couldn't actually do them properly. So
Yeah, I looked up no puzzles.
I'm not saying that this game is challenging. It's not. But just don't sit there and be like, I wouldn't even call this a puzzle game. I wouldn't even reference it at the beginning of this as a puzzle game, when you had to actually look something up to move on. I mean,
No, and
boom,
I think
roasted.
I noticed it at least once. I don't know if it happened all the time, but when you're inside the house, which is the majority of the gameplay, if there's an item you need to pick up in order to use to complete the puzzle, like you'll get auditory clues when you've picked up that item. Like the music changed, and then all of a sudden I started hearing different voices and things like that, because it's like starting to queue up other cutscenes to like happen throughout the house as you walk with that item.
Yeah.
So that's a way you can kind of, go around, pick up items.
Real quick, speaking of the cutscenes, I hated the kids' cutscenes. The kid actor, all his videos were pretty useless.
Kid actors are tough.
Yeah.
Like,
and
But no,
I'm
it's not,
in
just,
an
it's not
indie
even
game.
just a kid actor. His
That
videos were pointless.
No, are they though?
There's like one or two that's kind of important, but there's other ones where he's like, I don't know, pretending like he's a host of a show.
I think
it's like, okay.
I think it sets a lot of the guideline for like this family dynamic. Like this kid like adores and puts his parents on an absolute pedestal. And while both of them love him endearingly, like they in their own
Do
way
they?
well, if you let me finish my sentence here, as I'm saying, is that while they do, they still put themselves above him, and so he's neglected in a lot of ways, and he expresses that, and his videos are showing a lot of that. I don't. They might not be interesting because he's kind of a bad actor. Because and I don't want to dog on him because this kid's probably not even a real actor. He's probably like a kid of one of the developers. Like whatever. His performance is not great, but I think they're actually pretty impactful and pretty important videos.
Are they important for progressing the story? No. Are they important because the perspectives are important? Yes.
Yeah, they fill out the story though.
Yeah, like 100%. You kind of need that because he is a central character. You're right, to the parents. So it's kind of important that his perspective is in there. So yeah. A nice try, Andrew. Again, taking shots at a little kid. Jeez.
Yeah.
Real sick.
It's not even on the little kid. Like I said, I just thought his stories were kind of pointless. There was a couple that I was just like, okay. But anyway, as far as gameplay goes, I guess that's kind of about it. Yeah. The audio though, I really want to talk about. I really like this game's audio. The voice acting, the voice acting in it, really good. You're just, as I said, wear headphones with this game. It's just a lot of just whispers and banging. It really kind of feels the creepy vibe.
I think that's one of the things that gives it the creepiest aspects for me, and I feel like I've said it before, maybe not, I don't know, but I think that's what fits a lot of like making something scary in my book. It's like that unknown, and I guess it's kind of like whether or not it can get me or not, it's whether I can see it or not. And a lot of times if I can't see it and all I can do is hear, and it's like those banging doors, and like you get closer to them, they start banging more, but you're like, you can't open it. Why can't I open it? I appreciate that in the storytelling.
Yeah, the audio is great. Is there any music in this game?
I think there is a little bit. It's very subtle background
music.
I know. I'm like trying to think if music ever kicked in there. And
it's so funny because I thought it was going to be like a central point in this game. You start in front of a music store. It's like,
yeah.
And it like really set this up that it's going to be like, oh, audio is like what connects everything. And I mean, audio is a huge aspect of the game, but it's also not what I thought it was going to be with sound and music.
Even like, I don't know, maybe that's just me. Even the cover art for this game is really colorful. And that just always gives me vibes of like, there's going to be some music going on here.
Like synthy vibes and stuff.
Yeah, it kind of like that's kind of the vibes you got just looking at the cover art for it, but it's really not that type of game. Because that's why when you initially suggested this game, that's what I thought this was. Is I thought it was what do you call those? Like a beat game where you
like a
rhythm
audio,
game.
Yeah, a rhythm game. I thought it was going to be like a rhythm game. I thought that's what you're picking. I was like, I don't think it's a Halloween game. And then I looked it up and I was like, all right, I guess it is. But that was my initial thing when I looked at the cover art for it. Yeah, audio is really good. You do 100% wear headphones. It's made for that. Again, just remember this was built for the VR. So that kind of experience, I imagine, is probably great. You're already going to have headphones on. You're going to be kind of tactile with everything. You're going to be up close with everything. It probably looks really great. But yeah, audio's excellent.
Yeah. And then graphically, I really like this game. It's obviously not like super realistic of like the graphics aren't anything groundbreaking, but what's here fits so well. It fits so well with the atmosphere. I love the use of colors. I love the subtle changes in the environment. I think they actually did a great job when it comes to graphics.
I do have a minor gripe. Was it just me, or was something's really hard to read?
I think they were intentionally hard to read. Like, because I know what you're saying. Like, you'd pick up like a newspaper, and you could read one sentence clearly, and then like everything else was kind of gibberish. Or
I couldn't tell if some things were more clear because it was made for the VR. So you would be typically seeing it a lot closer because you could probably pull it up to your face a lot closer. I don't know. Maybe that was just.
Did you have like subtitles on? Because anytime I picked
'cause
something up, it told me what it said.
But
Oh,
that's
no.
exactly it. It would say, and it would only say like, it would still say like that one clear sentence.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was weird because it was almost like a weird storytelling thing. Cause like you're so used to picking something up in a game and getting like a full like paragraph that you're supposed to read. And it's like, hey, here's half a sentence. And you're like, no, I need more, I think. You're supposed to be more.
Yeah, and maybe that was, again, me just kind of feeling like, especially at the beginning, feeling like everything is a clue. And when it felt like not everything was like legible, I was like,
you really
what
wanted
am I
to read
missing
that
here?
dim sum menu, didn't you?
Yeah,
Well, you're
that
expecting
dim
like,
sum menu.
well, am I gonna need one of these phone numbers? Like,
Yeah.
is this gonna be important somewhere?
Yeah, that was exactly it. So when things kind of felt like they weren't like super clear, I was like, it was kind of frustrating. It stuck out to me. And you're right. Like, I think, 35 minutes in, when you kind of realize where the rhythm of this game is going, you kind of quit noticing those types of things. But that was just something I kind of picked up on kind of early. But yeah, I don't know if you guys did or not. Sounds like you didn't. Sounds like it was just a me thing.
Well, yeah, because I had like the subtitles on so like anytime I picked something up,
Smart.
it just had that one thing. And I was like, all right, cool.
So
I
what
do
did
like
that do for subtitles when like whispering and stuff is happening? Could you hear?
No,
Did you
I didn't
see
have like
her?
audio subtitles. It literally was just like text subtitles, which I thought it was
Oh,
default.
okay.
I'm surprised you didn't have it on.
Maybe it did, and I just didn't notice it. It might have. It's kind of one of those things you're like saying that, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember that. Maybe.
But yeah. Besides that, though, like I don't know, like I like for the environment though. You're seeing obviously the same apartment over and over again, but it's like I don't know. I thought this game did really well with its graphics.
Well, because
Keith describes it as a house.
I
it's
describe
an
it as
apartment building, actually, is what it is that they own. I'm pretty sure, and that's their apartment that you're in.
Do you think? I don't know. This was just something that kind of popped in my head as I was playing it. Do you think what you're seeing is a bunch of things smashed into one thing?
Yes and no. I think
Because the game is a game built on perspectives, they all have these different perspectives that you're seeing things through. Are you seeing multiple environments smashed into one?
I feel like we gotta have a spoiler talk.
See, I don't. Think
I like
so.
you to the dog on me, Aaron. That I want to spoil. Things,
I'm
but here
asking
you
a
are.
question. I genuinely don't know.
I'm trying to answer you, and I'm saying I
Sorry.
genuinely think so. I think that there are certain aspects of it that kind of change because they'll even. I might be spoiling this, but part of the perspectives that changes, you're kind of seeing it from the perspective of different characters in the game.
Yeah.
And while even certain rooms and stuff change and disappear and reappear within that own character's mind, I think that that's all a whole different part of your conversation, which is technically right. But at the end of the day, that building is where they lived. That building, it sits on top of a music store, and it pretty well lines up that they own it because when you first go into it, there's for rent things there, and it says call the Hazes, which is them. There's multiple building doors. They all have a letter on it, which would imply different apartment numbers, and you just exist in that one, which is theirs.
Yeah.
So I don't know,
Okay.
but so that's why I don't think it's all smashed into one. But yes, you're seeing all their different perspectives, and all their perspectives change the way that building is.
Like you kind of pointed to it, where you end up in weird, different spots than you think you should be at, and it made me just wonder: if there's some type of things where things are being stitched together that aren't actually in reality stitched together. Just a
I
thought.
mean, can we just do spoilers so I can just explain what I think this is?
All right, we're doing spoilers. Go ahead, Keith. What do you think?
We can wait till the end. It's fine. I don't mind
I mean,
waiting
we're at
till
the
the very
end.
end.
We went through it.
Well,
all right, fine.
after we do our
Okay,
scores and
let's
all
wrap
that,
it,
that's
then we'll
usually
go.
where we do it.
Yeah.
I don't really care. I do think there's an answer to this.
All right, so super quick, we'll wrap this up. Achievements. This is a fantastic game for achievement hunters. Like we said, it's like an hour and a half to 2 hour long game. You get 90% of it just from playing the game. There's like 3 achievements that are missable. One's to collect all the audio logs, one's to collect all the video logs, and one is to find a hidden photo. Super easy. The photo is not hard to find, but yeah, easy 1,000 gamer score here. All right, let's get our final thoughts here so we can talk a little spoilers. For me, Transference, like I said, it's not a super scary game, but if you're looking for kind of a low key, creepy time, especially for Halloween here, as we're doing this in October, it does very well. Pretty light on gameplay, but I liked its game story. Left some things for interpretation, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But overall, I thought it gave me enough of a story that I got what happened, and I liked it. But to me, this lands at a solid 70.
Dang, I feel like that. I mean, it's not a bad score, but I just feel like it's lower than I was expecting. Yeah, I really like this. I guess I kind of knew what to expect because I read before I played it, and that was why I said we should play it. But yeah, it had more than I was expecting. I'm usually on this, oh, nothing scary, whatever. And yeah, this wasn't scary, but it's spooky, it's interesting, and not even like a weekend game. It's the type of game that where it's 2 to 3 hours long or whatever. You could sit down and play this with a friend, a partner, whatever. If they don't mind watching, I guess, some gameplay, or you take turns or whatever, and it's cinematic enough in its gameplay and its cutscenes that you could do that, and it would be kind of a fun time. So yeah, I think overall it's worth the time. And then if you want the achievement score, as Andrew said, it's an easy 1,800, whatever you get out of it, with minimal time spent. So I think it's worth checking out. I would actually give this an 80.
Yeah, fun game. Great. It's built on the story. So if you're looking for a story and you're looking for something that's relatively spooky, then this is gonna scratch that itch. I don't have a ton of negatives to say about it. For a 2-hour game, I guess it's kind of hard to find some negatives, but it feels like 2 hours with zero downtime, but you also don't feel rushed. Yeah, I feel like this is a 76.
Ooh. Oh, sorry, not in your score. Because I was going to give a little perspective. If you're going to play this, as Aaron said, I recommend playing it on VR. This can't be the right game. It is. Thanks. This is a $25 game.
That's borderline. I would say 25 because this is a one-time playthrough. You will never play this again.
Yeah.
Twice at most, I think, because I think you can get a different ending if you collect everything. But that's twice most.
Like you gotta look at it this way. Like this is how this is kind of like an interactive movie.
Yeah.
Would I pay $25 to go see a movie? 2-hour movie? No, probably not. So I think that one's kind of tough. 25 is kind of tough.
But if you turn it into a date night, would you pay $25 to go on a movie date night? You don't take your wife on movie dates, so.
Ouch.
I would.
I didn't say you didn't take her on dates. I said movie dates. I said
you are
dates.
100% right. I think I can't tell you the last movie we went and saw together. We saw as a family How to Train Your Dragon over the summer, but a movie with just me and her, shoot, I don't even know. I mean, years. We do not watch the same movie, so you're 100% right.
But
see, right. Andrew.
But anyway, make sure you follow us at GamePassGrabBag.com. And I don't know, all the other outro stuff. Let's get into spoilers.
So this house, you walk in. I don't know who you're supposed to be. And some of this comes a little bit from reading kind of just different takes on this. But you walk into this house and you're sort of outside of the whole thing. And then I feel like you kind of get like sucked into it, because then each of the different perspectives you're going through, it's the father, the son, and the mother, and it's like each time you like pick up a different crystal, you're like synchronizing this whole thing. Like it's all out of whack. And this is where one of the theories I read is basically like they all went into this angry because they were murdered, so they're like unsettled, and the system basically thinks they're a bug in the system because they're all just like disjointed and it's trying to get rid of them. So you're synchronizing them, and then like gets rid of the bug in the system, because then they're all like at ease and peace at the end of the game. At least that's kind of how I took it.
My assumption is I kind of agree with you in the sense that I think you are like some type of an employee or colleague. I think the first, like the beginning cutscene is you, the person that he's talking to. And so that's you coming in as kind of like this unknown third party. So there's something that he says in that beginning intro that really stuck out to me. He talks about the ancients, like real briefly, where I was like, because that one stuck with me because I said, okay, kind of a super weird thing to say. And that was like in the back of my head, like, okay, well, who are the ancients? Like, what are the ancients? Why did he say that?
So like Lovecraftian kind of stuff?
And maybe he just basically said like this is like a power that not even the ancients knew or something like that. And I was like,
see
what?
So I mostly took it as
to immortality.
Yes. I think that was ultimately what his goal was, obviously. But the other thing that I think kind of sticks out to me too is the name of the game is Transference, which obviously relates to what was actually happening. But that's also a psychological term for what most people call projecting. So you taking a feeling and putting it on to somebody else that they're feeling it. And that's in actual medical terms is called transference. So again, this is like kind of the subtle stuff that I was like, huh, like I think there's another layer here. I think the monster, I think that thing is the allegory. I think that is directly related to the dad. I think that either represents his desire or his control. It's something along those lines that the monster represents one of those things.
Yeah, I thought the monster was the dad because that's the thing. I think you're playing as the dad because I was like, I kind of want to play again to figure out. I don't know if you ever see the monster when you're in the perspective of the dad, but it's clearly because that's the whole thing. The dad drugged and killed the family members, but in the dad's mind, he thinks the family loves him. Whenever you're playing the dad and you look at the family photo, everyone's happy and hugging each other. Mm-hmm. But in reality, the son feels distant from both the parents. And then the mom also hates the husband. And I wanted to disagree with you. I think the mom also hates the kid because anytime you play as the mom, she keeps seeing pregnancy tests and she sees it as chains. Yeah. So I don't think the mom liked the kid either. So he keeps saying like the dad was saying like, oh, you need to have a subject with a calm mind. And so that's why he did it to the family members because he thought they loved him, but in reality they don't. And so that's why it didn't work.
I didn't pick up on the chains aspect of it, but that's a good catch because like the birthday video is I think probably the most telling of them too, because you have and it's from all through the perspective from the kid. He's just watching the parents fight and he just wants to have a good day. The mother sees it as the dad being aggressive, drunk. Yeah. And he's drunk and he's like aggressive and whatever. And then the dad sees it as just, he said, perfect. And everybody's happy and everybody loves everything. But I think the video, the clip with him when like it clicks, I think that's the ending. If you get all of the videos, so did you go and watch all of the clips, Andrew, or Aaron, I guess too?
No,
I didn't.
So I think because this one was in there when you collect everything. I think instead of the ending where he's sitting there in a suit, he's like in a rattled mess because he's like preparing to kill them. And in the final video, it's him. He's like cut up, shaky, and then, like all of a sudden he just breaks down and starts going, "What have I done? What have I done?" And it's like right after he's committed the murders. And so it's like, I mean, obviously it's there the whole time that he did the murdering. We know that. It's just like in most of the endings, if you don't, and that's why the achievement for getting them all, it's called the whole story. It's like if you know, an obvious most things, you know, it's the true ending, so to speak. When you actually see all of the different videos and you see all of the different perspectives, then you get to see that like he just murdered everyone is really what happened. And maybe it worked. Like it doesn't mean it still didn't work, I guess, but it's he realizes that it's not so perfect as what he thought it was.
And this is why I say the game, I don't think is necessarily just cut and dry. Like, again, you know how things happened, but I think that there are bits and pieces. Because, Andrew, that's my other thought, is what you just said, that you might actually, the main perspective might be from the dad. Because another thought that I had, and this reminds me, this is very much a Black Mirror kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
That he's in despair and he's now stuck. Like he's now trapped in this process of kind of realizing what he did and how miserable everyone was and the damage that he did. And this is him kind of reliving it in some type of loop.
Now, what if, and because the dad's dead, he's dead. And that's why I don't think it's him. And
yeah, but is he transferred? Like the idea,
they all
like
are.
you
Yeah,
said,
they're all transferred. And that's at least from one of the breakdowns I read, like someone had, is that it was talking about how like that final crystal, when you have the white crystal, it's all of a sudden all three of them start popping up. It's because you're bringing them all together with that white crystal. So you're not any of them. You and I think even it's fairly telling with the achievements, all of the achievements, it's very, very clearly states the player has done this. It puts you as the player. It makes sure you are not any of those characters. Someone pointed out that the mother might have been pregnant. What if somehow the baby was born and you are, this is a real stretch, there's nothing to actually tell us, but you're going back here as this child that never knew any of them, and you're kind of piecing this all together.
No, there is a couple things, because I thought about that too. So this is, we couldn't obviously talk about this during the graphics, but this is what I liked, is the perspectives. So like if you're the kid, the paintings are kind of creepy, which makes sense. I mean, I remember as a kid, like there was always some family photos in the house that always creeped you out.
Yeah,
the dad always saw him as smudges, never really cared for art. And then the mom saw him as very kind of morbid. But one of the pictures the mom had was two women, both with that are pregnant. So to me, it showed her as the two perspectives, and she is pregnant again. So I think you are right. There was a picture on the wall that showed possibly her being pregnant.
That could explain the chains on it, because she's happy with her current, like she deeply loves her current child, but having another one now, she's playing for the Philharmonic. She's got all these things going on. Now is not the time she wants another child. Now she could see that as chains.
Yeah, that could be a good point.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think there was a lot of allegory here. Like, I think there was a lot of things representing other things. That's why, to me, this wasn't that type of vagueness. I like that type of vagueness, because it didn't feel like it didn't resolve.
Exactly.
Even if I didn't think that deeply into it, I didn't pick up on any of that stuff. I don't get to the end and feel like I missed out on anything. It's just kind of a cool thing to talk about.
Because that does irritate me when I play a game and I go, what just happened? But this, I felt like after me, I was like, okay, that was interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is kind of a fun thing to kind of piece together and stuff.
Yeah. So again, that was just kind of my thought. I maybe you look into it a little bit too much. Maybe you don't. Maybe there's some things to see and some things not to see. I think that's a good point too. Like, I guess it couldn't be the dad, but that was a thought that I had. Because by the time you got to the end, I was like, oh, is this kind of him living in a tortured version of all of these things?
Well, I mean, I guess
there was one other thing that also confused me. The son invented a device that showed you what you were thinking. And real quickly, I remember, I think we were playing as the mother. You went down the stairs, like you see wires all through the house. But then eventually you go down the stairs, you see the wire lead to the son who's wearing a helmet. And so that was
Yes.
another thing I was thinking. I was like, oh, maybe it's the son who's doing all of this.
That's another clip that I didn't find, but I saw that's in there. It's one of the son's clips. It's like him recording in front of it, and he's like prepping for his science experiment, and he starts talking about it. He's like, here's this device that I totally created all by myself. And he stops and he's like, well, maybe not all by myself, with a little bit of help. And he stops and he's like, well, maybe with a lot of bit of help from my dad. And so it's his dad created that, whether or not it works or does anything. But also it could work because the dad probably wanted it because he wanted to have calm minds so he could read their minds, or part of his mind reading to pull their thoughts so he could create the transference in the first place.
So was the son never a genius?
Ooh.
Maybe.
Was it just the dad the whole time transferring onto his son that he was a genius?
I mean, honestly, that could be the whole thing, because
he just kept transferring what he wanted on everyone else around him.
And in reality, he's just in his room eating glue.
For that too, because you have, if the dad's feeding him that way, then there's one part where there's an audio clip of the son talking about, like, oh, mom says we're just a beautiful band and dad does this and I do this and we're just going to make the most beautiful music.
So she's transferring her feelings onto her son
through music.
To also, so going back to the level design. So this all takes place in an apartment. Where does the dad kill them?
That I don't know. It doesn't, because
the son says it's
because the dog's in the freezer.
He always yells to the kid, go to the garage, go to the garage. How many apartments have garages?
Especially in Boston.
This is why I'm saying I think what you're seeing is a stitched together view of things. I don't know if they actually lived in an apartment.
What's the purpose of all those other apartment buildings that you don't even rooms that you go into?
That's just a stitched, like a stitched memory from something else. I don't know. I'm just thinking of things that stuck out to me. You were right, like kind of like this perspective stuff didn't quite make sense, and he kills them all in the garage.
I think he kills them in the basement. So you keep seeing the store called Harmony Labs, but you never actually go in Harmony Labs. Anytime you go in it, it just brings you to the apartment. So I think it is in the basement. I think only the dog is in the freezer, because he did talk about you need to have a cold area, but I think it's whatever was in the lab in the basement.
Well, and that's why he screams at him when you try to open it, and he screams at him, "Don't open the freezer."
But then he realizes you're the son, or he realizes you're somebody, and he goes, "Oh, I thought you were someone else. No, go ahead," or whatever. But you can never open the freezer, as far as I saw.
No, I don't think it ever lets you. Which that kind of drove me nuts. Unopening doors.
You really want to see a dead dog? Oh,
no, just that there's like constantly places where there's doors you never end up opening. I'm like, oh, man, they the only thing that would lead me to believe that, I don't know, maybe going back to watching it, like going back to the clip of him, like in the realization, he's in like a real dimly lit room. It's the same one, like you'll see it from time to time when he's like repeating, was it the Robert Frost poem? And like over and over, it's like that room. And wherever that room is, because it's like the way the shot takes place, he like looks across the room and like he stares for a second, and that's his realization moment. And it's like he's looking at their bodies after he's done it. I think that's the take I got from the video. So I don't know.
Something to think about. I don't have any other theories.
All right. I mean, well, that's what's great about this. I feel like the theories are just kind of like side things. You at least know what the main story is. And I agree. That is one of my favorite things about this game. All right. But I guess we'll finally fully wrap it up now. Once again, go to GamePassGrabback.com. See all our past reviews. Check us out on Spotify. Write us a comment. Send us an email. Our link tree will be at the bottom to all our things. Check out our YouTube channel. Been trying to stream there more. I'm surprised, Aaron, you have not streamed Battlefield 6 at all.
I need to get back on there.
But I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me in Xbox Live at Firebird0952.
I've been Keith.
And I'm Aaron.
Hey, you guys actually said bye. Look at that.
Say our names.
But Thank you all for listening. We love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Bye.